It doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes the body begins to speak in quiet ways, not with pain, but with patterns, not with drama, but with changes so subtle we barely notice. Until one day we look back and realize the signs were always there. If you've seen a parent, a spouse, or someone you love start sleeping more, losing weight without trying, or just seeming not quite themselves, please don't dismiss it as just getting older. These may be signs that the final chapter is beginning to unfold. Most people think the end of life comes suddenly, but often the body whispers long before it shuts down. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. When we know what to look for, we can offer something powerful: peace, dignity, and connection. This is senior health at its most meaningful, and understanding these moments is part of living healthy after 50. If this video speaks to you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss our senior health tips, longevity secrets, and advice for aging gracefully. Have you ever noticed a small change in someone close to you that only made sense later? Share your story in the comments. You might help someone else see what matters before it's too late. Now let's gently walk through the 5 subtle signs an elderly person may be entering their final year, and how we can respond with compassion and clarity. Number 1, change in breathing and circulation. It often begins quietly. A loved one may start breathing more slowly, or their breaths may come in short, shallow waves. Sometimes they pause mid-sentence just to catch their breath. You notice, but you don't want to worry. These aren't just signs of normal aging. These changes often mean the body's working differently now. It's starting to conserve energy. Blood gets redirected to the most vital organs, and little by little circulation to the arms and legs decreases. You might feel their hands and feet and notice they're cold even though the room feels warm. Or you may see a pale bluish tint along the fingers, lips, or toes. This isn't just poor circulation from sitting too long. It's the body slowly focusing inward, preparing in its own way. Mild shortness of breath may come next. At first, it only happens after climbing stairs or walking across the room. But then even sitting up in bed or changing position becomes difficult. Their chest rises and falls more rapidly, and you may start to hear a soft gurgle or catch a moment when their breath pauses just a little longer than it used to. Some people describe a breathing pattern known as Cheney-Stokes respiration. It's where deep, rapid breaths are followed by long pauses. It can be unsettling to watch, but it's actually the body's natural rhythm adjusting during the final stage of life. Not a failure, a transition. These changes in breathing are often misunderstood. Many families rush to the emergency room thinking it's something that can be fixed. But the truth is, in this phase, comfort becomes more important than correction. Senior health is not just about adding years, but about supporting quality in the time that remains. You can do more than you think. Raising the head with pillows, offering sips of cool water, and keeping the room well ventilated can ease discomfort. Some caregivers use a small fan near the face. It sounds simple, but it helps reduce air hunger and brings a sense of calm. One family I spoke with, the Parkers in Virginia, cared for their mother Lucille, who was 87. Her daughter Janet remembered how she started noticing these exact changes: breathing slower, needing more rest. Her fingers were often cold, and she'd sleep with blankets even on warm days. It wasn't sudden, but it was clear. They stopped trying to push her to eat more or get up and walk. Instead, they focused on keeping her warm, propping her up in her favorite recliner, playing soft music. That shift from trying to fix to simply being present made all the difference in her final months. Many Americans over 60 face similar choices. How do we know when to act and when to just hold a hand? That's where understanding senior health becomes powerful. It's not just medical, it's deeply human. According to the National Institute on Aging, irregular breathing and changes in circulation are among the most common signs in the final months of life. But these signs don't mean a person is in pain. Often the discomfort comes more from fear than from the body itself. That's why creating a peaceful space matters so much. When you begin to see these signs: cool skin slowed, breath, shortness of breath with small movements, it's a call to be gentle. Use that moment to sit quietly, let them rest. Offer comfort, not pressure. This is what aging gracefully really looks like. Senior home remedies like warm compresses or elevating the feet can help with circulation, but the real healing often comes from being present. And knowing what's happening without fear or panic can give you strength you didn't know you had. These changes aren't a failure of the body. They are its final effort to keep peace inside. So when the breathing slows, when the hands feel cool, take it as the body's way of saying, be near, be calm, be love. Because in the end, the most powerful medicine isn't always found in a bottle. It's in your presence, your kindness, and your care. Number 2, unexplained weight loss. Sometimes the change is right in front of us. The belt that once fit snugly now slides right through the loops. Favorite meals go untouched. Snacks sit uneaten. You might notice smaller portions or quiet refusals at dinner, but brush it off as a loss of appetite or just aging. But weight loss in older adults isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's often the body's early signal that something deeper is happening. When someone begins to lose weight without trying, especially in their 70s or 80s, it can mean the body is no longer absorbing nutrients as it should. Muscles start shrinking, energy fades, and the immune system weakens. For many seniors, food simply doesn't taste the same anymore. Their sense of smell dulls. Their mouth might feel dry or chewing becomes tiring. Some may even forget to eat altogether. And when the brain no longer sends hunger signals, clearly meals begin to feel like a chore instead of a joy. The mistake many families make is thinking they can fix it with more food, more milkshakes, more protein drinks, more encouragement. But when the body is changing this way, quantity won't always solve the issue. It's not just about eating more. It's about supporting the body with comfort, hydration, and dignity. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that unintentional weight loss in people over 65 is linked to higher mortality within the next year, not because of the weight itself, but because of what it represents. Muscle breakdown, malnutrition, and often the early stages of chronic illness. Sometimes the reason is physical conditions like cancer, kidney disease, or heart failure that haven't shown full symptoms yet. Other times it's emotional. Depression is a common but often overlooked cause of weight loss in older adults. They may eat less because they feel lonely, disconnected, or simply tired of daily routines. I remember a story from one family in Kansas. Harold, 81, had always been a hearty eater. His wife Sue made him pancakes every Sunday. But over the course of a few months, Sue noticed Harold was leaving more food on his plate. His jeans started to sag. He said he just wasn't hungry. At first, she didn't worry. But when he stopped wanting pancakes altogether, she knew something had shifted. What helped wasn't forcing more food on him. It was small changes. Soup instead of sandwiches. Smoothies with soft fruits and almond butter. A cozy chair by the window for quiet meals. And most importantly, gentle conversation. Not about eating, but about life memories and simply being together. These are the daily habits for longevity that matter most. Not just vitamins or strict nutrition plans, but attentiveness, adaptability, and patience. That's what a good senior nutrition guide should teach us. Natural health for seniors includes listening closely. It includes understanding that the body in its final chapter may no longer want to process heavy meals, that sometimes soup and kindness do more than a full plate of calories. If you notice unintentional weight loss in someone you love, look beyond the scale. Look at their energy. Are they moving less? Are they speaking less? Do they seem more fragile or distant? This is not just a change in diet. It's often the body's way of signaling it needs something else. Not more food, but more comfort, more peace, less pressure. Senior health tips aren't just about knowing what to eat. They're about knowing when to pause, observe, and shift the focus from nutrition to nurturing. Because at this stage, food is not just fuel, it's also connection, memory, and care. So if you see the signs, don't panic. But don't ignore them either. Gentle support, easy to digest meals, and emotional warmth may not stop the weight loss entirely, but they can make these days feel safe, loving, and full of grace. Number 3, deep fatigue and weakness. At first, it looks like a lazy day. They sit a little longer than usual. Take more naps, skip a chore or two, but soon even the smallest effort becomes too much. Standing feels like climbing uphill. Talking feels like running out of breath. This isn't the tiredness we all feel after a long day. It's a deep, bone-heavy exhaustion, one that sleep doesn't fix, a signal that the body is preserving energy for what it needs most, and slowly letting go of everything else. You may notice they stop doing things they once loved. Gardening, walking to the mailbox, even getting dressed on their own. It's not that they've given up. It's that their body is asking them to slow down. And there's only so much willpower can do. This kind of weakness changes more than routines. It begins to chip away at independence. And when a person loses independence, it doesn't just affect their body. It touches the heart. It affects the spirit. Many older adults feel embarrassed when they can't keep up. They don't want to ask for help. They don't want to feel like a burden. So they try to hide their struggle. Or worse, they stop trying altogether. This becomes a silent cycle. The less they move, the weaker they feel. The weaker they feel, the less they move. And what started as fatigue turns into a full loss of confidence. But here's what's important. This is not laziness. This is biology. And this is what healthy aging truly looks like, even when it's hard. I remember hearing about Alan, a 78-year-old retired mechanic in Colorado. His wife Karen said she noticed the changes over one winter. Alan, who once took pride in fixing everything around the house, started avoiding the basement steps. Then he stopped going outside. Eventually, even walking to the kitchen wore him out. He wasn't sad. He wasn't sick. He was just tired. Instead of pushing him, Karen shifted her approach. She helped him set up a chair in the sun. She brought him meals he could eat without much effort. She stopped asking him to try harder and started saying, "Let's rest together for a while." That made all the difference. For those over 60, fatigue like this is one of the clearest signs that the body's changing from doing to conserving. It's part of the natural rhythm of over 60 wellness. It's not something to fix, it's something to understand. Research from the Journal of Palliative Medicine shows that fatigue is among the top 3 symptoms reported in the final year of life, and it often appears months before other signs. This makes it a powerful early indicator if we choose to see it that way. Senior health isn't only about movement and exercise. It's about knowing when rest is the body's smartest choice and learning that stillness is not weakness. It's a form of strength too. Daily habits for longevity can look very different at this stage. Instead of routines that push the body, we focus on those that protect it. Gentle stretching, peaceful music, warm baths, short, meaningful conversations that don't require much energy but still feed the soul. If your loved one is sleeping more, talking less, pulling away from daily tasks, don't assume they're giving up. Don't rush them. Just be there. That's what compassion looks like. You don't need to fill the silence with words. Sometimes your quiet presence is the most comforting thing in the world. That more than anything is what it means to care for someone who is deeply tired. So when the fatigue comes, don't fight it. Understand it. Honor it. Let it guide you toward what matters most in these precious days: peace, patience, and love. Number 4, increased confusion or withdrawal. It often begins quietly. They forget what day it is. They ask the same question more than once. Then little by little, they stop joining conversations altogether. You notice long pauses, blank stares, or confusion in places they used to know by heart. This isn't ordinary forgetfulness. As circulation slows and oxygen supply to the brain decreases, mental sharpness begins to fade. The brain, just like the heart or muscles, needs fuel to function. When that fuel runs low, even simple thoughts become harder to hold. You may see moments of clarity followed by sudden confusion. They may know your name in the morning but forget it by afternoon. They might seem fine one day and disoriented the next. These shifts feel sudden, but they're part of a slower process happening beneath the surface. What's most surprising is not the memory loss, it's the withdrawal. Someone who once lit up the room may now sit silently. They're not angry, not depressed, just tired. Social interaction begins to feel like too much. Conversations drain them. Noise becomes overwhelming. Some families mistake this for sadness, but in truth, it's often a protective retreat. The mind can no longer process too much at once, so it pulls away, not out of rejection, but from effort, from the sheer energy it takes to stay engaged. This is why many elders begin to withdraw, even from the people they love most. It's not about love fading, it's about capacity changing, and understanding that shift can prevent a lot of heartache. One man in Wisconsin named Ray was known for his sharp wit. At 83, he still told stories with flair and loved chatting over coffee. But over a few months, his daughter noticed he stopped calling. At family dinners, he sat quietly. When asked a question, he'd smile but not answer. She thought he was upset with her, but he wasn't. His mind just didn't have the energy to keep up anymore. Instead of pressing him, she started sitting with him in silence, holding his hand, turning off the TV, just being there. That's when he began to relax again. He didn't need more stimulation. He needed less. He needed space to be at peace. Longevity tips often focus on how to stay sharp, But one of the most important doctor tips for adults is knowing when mental shifts signal something deeper. And knowing that connection doesn't always come through conversation. Sometimes it comes through stillness. If your loved one seems more confused or distant, take a breath. Don't rush to fix it. Don't demand answers. Just meet them where they are. That's one of the most powerful acts of love you can offer. Research published in The Lancet shows that mental decline often begins subtly in the year before death. Forgetfulness, difficulty focusing, even personality shifts. But these are not signs to fear. They're signs to prepare, to soften your tone, to simplify the day. Natural health for seniors isn't just about supplements and diet. It's about creating an environment that supports the mind when it's most fragile. Calm surroundings, familiar faces, gentle lighting. These things matter more than we realize. Senior health also means giving yourself permission to stop expecting what used to be. Your presence is more than enough. A smile, a soft voice, a hand resting gently on theirs. That's the medicine they need most now. So when the words fade, when the stories stop, remember connection hasn't left. It's just changing shape. And your love, your patience, your quiet care, that's what helps them feel safe even in the silence. Number 5, frequent infections and slower healing. At first it seems small. A scratch that doesn't close, a cold that lingers a little too long, a cough that returns just when you think it's gone. But over time, these little issues add up, and they tell a much bigger story. As we age, the immune system naturally begins to slow down. The cells that once rushed to fight off infection begin to tire. Blood doesn't flow as quickly. Healing takes longer. And what used to be minor illnesses now become long battles. A study from the National Institutes of Health confirms that people over 65 have a reduced immune response. This means common viruses like the flu or a urinary tract infection can become dangerous if not managed gently. It's not just about germs. It's about the body no longer having the strength to respond the way it once did. You might notice repeated illnesses, colds that come one after another, skin infections that show up without clear reason, bruises that don't fade. Even antibiotics may take longer to work or need to be replaced with stronger doses. These are all quiet signs that the body's no longer fighting like it used to. For many families, this is the most frustrating stage. They want to help, they want to fix it, but the tools that worked before, more medicine, another trip to the hospital, don't seem to make much difference now. That's when the approach has to change. Senior home remedies take on a new kind of power here. Warm cloths to ease discomfort, clean dry bedding to prevent skin problems, gentle lotions to prevent cracking, hydration with soups, teas, and soft fruits. These simple acts carry more weight than another round of pills. I heard about a man in Alabama named Carl, 84 years old, who started developing small skin sores that wouldn't go away. His daughter Denise said they tried everything: ointments, antibiotics, even a hospital visit. But nothing seemed to work. What finally helped was slowing down. She kept his bedding fresh, kept him moisturized, and gave him warm herbal foot soaks at night. It didn't heal him entirely, but it gave him comfort and helped his skin stop breaking down so fast. That's the heart of healthy aging, knowing when to push and knowing when to protect. Over 60 wellness is about recognizing that the body has limits and honoring those limits with care, not pressure. When you notice these signs, slow healing, frequent infections, lingering colds, remember it's not just the illness, it's the system beneath it. The immune response that used to roar now whispers. And your job is to listen. Prevent aging diseases doesn't always mean stopping what's coming. Sometimes it means supporting the body in its natural process, offering peace instead of panic, creating an environment where healing can happen slowly, gently, and with dignity. So if your loved one seems to catch every cold, if cuts don't heal, or they always seem just a little run down, it may be their immune system asking for rest, not a battle, just a break. Focus on the little things: clean hands, fresh sheets, a quiet room. These are the senior health habits that truly matter at this stage, and they offer something modern medicine sometimes can't comfort without harm. You don't need to do it all. Just do it with care. That more than anything helps them feel safe, helps them feel loved, helps them feel whole even as the body begins to step back. These 5 signs don't always mean the end is tomorrow, but they do ask us to notice what's changing. Not with panic, but with quiet awareness and a deeper sense of care. When we see these changes early, we get time. Time to prepare. Time to hold their hand a little longer. Time to bring comfort instead of confusion. Time to create peace instead of regret. This is the heart of senior health. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. A warm room, a soft voice, a steady presence. That's aging gracefully in its truest form. Daily habits for longevity shift as we grow older. Sometimes the best habit is simply being there. No rush, no fixing, just love, just stillness. At Live Healthy. After 50, we believe knowledge is power. And power when used gently brings dignity. If this helped you understand the journey more clearly, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell for more thoughtful guidance on aging and care. Have you seen one of these signs in someone you love? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could help someone else walk this road with more strength and less fear. Your health is your greatest wealth, and so is the love you give.